Welcome to the special edition of The Portal. Today we're going to be talking about Reaction Sunday. And we're going to be doing a couple of these, even on Saturdays, for the next couple of weeks, to talk about some of the games that happened over the weekend. Now, the game we decided to talk about this week is going to be Florida State versus Memphis. And going into this game, Florida State has not looked good. We've talked about this and touched on it several times in the show. And during the podcast, you've heard it mentioned several times that right now they seem lost. They have no leaders. They have coaching issues. There's so many problems with this Florida State team. Now, in this game against Memphis, there was some bright spots finally for Florida State. The defensive line did much better. They only allowed about 65 yards rushing in the game. So, a great job by the defense. They showed up, and out of the 272 yards passing, less than 200 of those yards was given up by somebody that wasn't a linebacker. So, again, the secondary for FSU is still a strength. They're one of the top teams in the country still against the pass. Now, I understand people are going to say in the first couple games it's because teams didn't really have to throw the ball. They just ran the ball in Florida State. In this game, a team had to throw the ball, and the defensive secondary responded. And it was without one of their best players in Shaheem Brown. They still looked really good on the back end, except for the linebackers. And Memphis definitely took advantage of that and got plenty of big plays out of their tight end and running backs coming out of the backfield. And they were able to get play after play on those mismatches with the linebackers, who very rarely could stand up into coverage. And at one point, it was the defensive end covering the tight end, who had been giving all the linebackers issues, and he easily scores the touchdown that ended up being the difference in this game for Memphis. So what else can Florida State do? What else is causing a problem? Now their defense responded and gave them a chance to win a game. What happened offensively? Well, if you look at the statistics, it's pretty clear. Florida State did not run the football again. Here we are talking about an FSU team that had only 37 yards rushing, and with the talent they have at running back, there is no excuse. Roydell Williams fumbles on the second play of the game, and that fumble ends up giving Memphis 3 points. I mean, that is inexcusable for this offense. Passing-wise, DJ really didn't do anything. I mean, if you look at it, most of his passing yards came when Florida State's trying to catch up at the end of the game. If you go over what he was doing before it got into the fourth quarter, he barely had 150 yards passing before the fourth quarter. It's not an effective way of winning games. And if your quarterback's struggling, you got to make a change at some point. You got to do something to inspire the guys behind him. Because if the guy's QB1 is playing that bad, and the guy behind him isn't getting to play, it's going to make those guys start to wonder, well, what do you think of us? How do you evaluate us? If we're not playing and that guy's the starter, well, then what do you think of our talent? Do you really believe in us? And it's going to cause issues where you're going to have the transfer portal and players start to exit. Florida State's 0-3. They can't afford a mass exodus from the portal because bringing in a bunch of players isn't going to fix it. It'll be just like Colorado. You can't take guys and lose 20 guys in the portal and then turn around and replace those guys every year and expect to be competitive with some of the teams we have in college football today. It doesn't work. And ultimately for Florida State, another reason why you lose this game 20-12 is turnovers. Memphis scored a total of 13 points in the game just off turnovers alone. And those are inexcusable points. And the first one was opening up the game by giving them the field goal. That was a huge advantage, giving them the lead that early off a turnover. Then you turn around with another turnover, give them a touchdown. And after another turnover, they get another field goal. Like, this puts you behind, and all the points you scored to come back, the way your defense was playing, you possibly could have won this game. Had you not been turning the ball over, you probably could have won this game just off the fact that your defense could have probably held them to field goals, then only when they were getting into range for field goals, and your offense would have been able to score just enough points, which 12 is not a lot, to be able to get the win. And that being said, this is something that at Florida State, there's so many coaching issues. Linebackers core is still horrible. Their coverage was bad all game long. They didn't play the run well. Luckily, the defensive line was stepping up and playing really good in this game, so it didn't matter. But, as we look at the schedule going ahead for Florida State, look at the games they have. Will Florida State get a win anytime soon? The way they're playing, they might not beat Cal. Their offense can't score on Cal with DJ at quarterback. So you're going to be in an ugly dogfight with them. That's going to be the closest one they could come to winning. And at SMU, you're not winning at SMU. And you're definitely not beating Clemson with them because Clemson already knows the type of quarterback he is. And with the defense they have, you don't think they're going to come after him? You don't think they're going to constantly rush him all game long knowing that he's going to stand back there and slowly react and not act fast enough to make the plays to get the ball down the field? I understand where Norvell's coming from. The drop passes do affect you as a quarterback. But at the same time, some of those drop passes could be avoided by putting the ball in better locations. And also, sometimes just a change in personnel inspires the other guys to make more plays. So at this point, Florida State's got to look to make changes. Now, when we react to this game, another big thing about this game is talking about Seth Hennigan of Memphis. He came in having 39 straight games with at least one passing touchdown in each game. Now, he ended up getting one in the Florida State game. He actually ended up getting two. So the streak continues, and he's sitting at 40, tied with Baker Mayfield, which is incredible to be able to put your name up there with players like that. Now, the record is 46 games. And if you look at Memphis' schedule going ahead, look at this and don't tell me that with this schedule, he can't easily break that record and set a new one. The 9 games they have left are all games where he should at least be able to get a touchdown in each one of those games. There's not a single one of them that plays a lockdown defense that's going to stop him from scoring. So this looks like it's pretty much certain. At this point, he's going to lock this up. He's going to have the record at the end of this year. This is a given at this point. And for Memphis, that's great. Looking at the rest of the schedule as well, I don't really see them losing games. They don't have a lot of tough games left now on the schedule. They got some where, yes, they're going to be close games, but if Memphis keeps playing to the high level they're playing at, they escaped Tallahassee with a win. That was their biggest hurdle probably on their schedule, was if they were going to be able to come out of Florida State with a win. Coming out with that win, thanks to FSU being so bad, really helps them. So now Memphis could be your group of 5 team. So on one foot, we're talking about a team that went undefeated last year who can't get a win and doesn't look like they're getting a win anytime soon. On the other foot, we're talking about Norvell's former team in Memphis being able to secure a much-needed win that probably will help them go to undefeated and a spot in the college football playoffs. Now, thank you for listening. I want you guys to go ahead and check out more of the videos and content we have here on YouTube. Make sure you also join the conversation on Twitter at SJolleyACC. My Twitter name is @JolleyACC. And join the conversations with us on Twitter as well. We love to have score predictions. I'll put up graphics and things from time to time on what players are the hot players in the country to watch right now. And some of the reaction videos that I do on YouTube and some of them that I do on Instagram and other locations will appear on here as well. So make sure you get on to Twitter and continue that conversation with us, and also hit that notification and subscribe bell so you'll be notified of all the latest content we'll have here on the portal.
Skype here.